Welcome back, traders, to another installment of XAU USD forecast today, managing a small account. I hope your trades this week have been going really well. And apologies for not releasing videos on a Thursday and on a Friday. We're going to be catching up from where we left off in regards to those days that we miss putting out any form of content, right? So with that said and done, I've gone ahead and marked out the key levels of last week that's going to help us with this week's trades. Okay, so first things first is I've put in the weekly highs level, which was set for us on Friday, and the weekly low level, which was set for us on Monday last week. So the weekly low was set at 2772.29. That's this level right here, corresponding to this level right here. And then we have the weekly high, which was set on a Friday. That is this level right here. And we're looking at 2887.26. Okay, so these are the two levels that's going to help us navigate the market for this week. Week commencing Monday, the 10th of February. And just as a recap, okay, on Friday, I took a couple trades. I took two trades on Friday and they went bad, right? They went bad, brought the account balance down. And then today I took a trade when I saw market had gone above the weekly high on the Friday. So I took a buy in that location and I was taking out by trailing stop. That trailing stop allowed me to recoup the losses that I took on the Friday. Then I went back in with another trade and then I basically lost 75% of the profits that I had made that I was able to recoup on the Friday. Okay, so far this week started off mixed results, right? Good and bad, and hopefully we're going to have all of that fixed as we move forward through this week. So where we are right now is actually quite straightforward in terms of what we need to do and how we need to do it. And I've already gone ahead and put the direction of what I think market is going to do, which is I'm expecting some kind of drop back down to this level, weekly high level, okay, and then a push away from that. Now, in terms of actually trading this move, I would want a confirmation at this level before I enter the market. And I would expect, or I would hope that this confirmation didn't happen in the early hours of the morning, right? So long as it doesn't happen in the early hours of the morning, I should be able to catch it throughout the day. What I mean by early hours of the morning is I'm referring to anything from 1 a.m. to about 5 a.m. in the morning, right? If it happens in between that window, chances are I will not catch it. If it happens from 5 a.m. onwards, there is a high probability I will be able to catch it and ride it on. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but this is what I think market is going to do, because at the moment it's doing a bit of consolidation at the top, right? Now, just to step back a little bit, is that currently at the moment I'm not in any trade. So won one trade, lost another trade, so I'm not in anything right now. I'm waiting for a new opportunity, and the current balance on the MT5 is currently sitting around £65. I had it at 68, and obviously I've knocked it down to £65 through obviously various mistakes that were made that we will be fixing as we move forward throughout the week. So now that we know that the weekly high has been taken out, okay, there are two levels that we want to keep in mind as market moves forward, and that is the potential high of today, which is up here, okay? So price could go higher because the day hasn't ended yet, right? But what we do know is that the low is fairly locked in. I'm not expecting price to make his way all the way down here, okay? So if these two levels hold, then what I'll be waiting to see tomorrow, if price breaks above this level over here, I may consider jumping in with another buy, right? But however, what I hope that will happen is that we will get some type of pullback and we'll get a rejection at this weekly high level over here, and then price will then begin to push upwards, at which point I would then join, and I'm hoping that will be around, let's say, from between 6 and 7 a.m. in the morning, because that would be great, and then I could get in nice and early and then ride it all the way throughout the day. That's the plan. That's what I hope will happen, okay? Now, as you can see here, I've kind of rejigged the channel a little bit. So the channel was a little bit bigger, okay? it was basically covering all of here and this level over here, and it went all the way upwards. But however, it doesn't seem to be gelling, so I've rejigged it a little bit, and we've just streamlined it to this particular trend of price going upwards. It seems to fit really well, okay? And also, if you are really paying attention to what you're seeing right here, you should be able to see, okay, in theory, the effectiveness of weekly highs and weekly lows as it plays out right in front of you. All right, so these are all the lows right here, okay, and these are all the highs right here. All right, and as you can see, whenever price takes out a high, it continues to push higher, right? So we don't have new lows being created, we just have new highs being created and higher lows, right? Now, this particular strategy works really well, right? And it works well with resistance and support. So on this channel, we mainly talk about weekly highs and weekly lows, but that is me working off the assumption that you are already using resistance and support to help you with your trades, right? Because you can't just use this on its own. You got to use it with resistance and support. It helps you make better decisions than if you just did it without it, right? And another key part that is important but is nowhere near as important as weekly highs, weekly lows, and resistance and support. These three things that I've mentioned, which is resistance, support, right, as one sentence, and weekly highs and weekly lows as two separate sentences, right? They're not really, but it's just a separate, because I said three, right? Is these things are absolutes in the market. Absolutes. So we know market always produces a resistance and a support level. That's an absolute. We also know that in a week we will get a high and we will get a low. That is also an absolute. Okay, so if you combine these together, all right, this will help us navigate through it all, right? Then there are the other types of analysis that we do that are not absolute. They are subjective, right? That is things like trend lines and channels and ascending wedges, descending wedges, bullish flags, all of this stuff here, okay? They work too, but they are not absolute. So because reason why I say they're not absolute is I could make this whatever I want it to be, and I could make this fit my narrative of whatever narrative that I'm looking for. I could make this whole trend line fit it. Okay, so I could basically just say, oh, I believe market is in a range, right? And I could just do something like this. Okay, I could do something like this and it's believable. So I can come in and say, yeah, market's in the range, and this is believable to see it. But this is not an absolute, because it could be down here, right? It could be like this, right? It's not an absolute, right? So one thing that I want you to take away from this is, don't look at these trend lines as absolutes. Aesthetically, it looks pleasing on the chart. It looks really cool. We can see where everything's going, but these are not absolutes. Absolutes are resistance, support, weekly highs and weekly lows, because we know we're always going to get them. No matter what, it will always happen in the market consistently without fail. And this is what we must use to navigate the market as a whole. And these little things here, trend lines, wedges, bull flags, head and shoulders, all of this stuff, these are all subjective. We can find head and shoulders anywhere if you want to, right? We can find a bull flag anywhere in the market if you want to. We can find all of these things anywhere if you want to, and it doesn't even have to be accurate. We can just find them and say, yeah, this is it, but it's not actually that, right? What is what is fixed in the market that we get all the time without fail, and those are the things I've just mentioned. So hence why this thing has changed, so it looks cool or whatever, but the main things that you need to be focused on is these levels right here. So that is this resistance level. That is important. You need to keep an eye on that. You need to be mindful of that. We need to know about the high of 2024. That is another level that is important that we need to keep an eye on, and everything else apart from the weekly highs and the weekly lows is just noise, right? So if I haven't said it before, I'm saying it now because it's super important. I see way too many of these drawings about, and it just looks like, yeah, it's absolute, and it's not. It's just subjective. We just put it there because it looks good. In all fairness, it doesn't really mean anything. You can't really go off it, but you can go off the other stuff. Like as we can see here with the weekly highs and the weekly lows. Weekly high over here, it got taken out, price went up, continued to go up. We got another weekly high, price came down, created a weekly low, took out the weekly high, went up some more, came back, created a new weekly low that was a little bit lower, went up, took out the previous weekly high, continued on its journey upwards, and now we have a new weekly high up here. Price has taken out that weekly high. It might come down and produce a weekly low, which we could get either tomorrow or on Wednesday, okay, or in fact this level over here could actually be in fact the weekly low, and price will continue to push upwards. So these are the things we need, these are the things that will help us, and these are the things that we need to keep an eye on. Okay, so I've mentioned the levels in question, which is the weekly low of last week set on Monday, 2772.29, and we have the weekly high set for us on the Friday, and this was, I think, was set off the NFP. So the NFP created this high, and that is 2887.26. okay, so we have that high taken out. I am expecting price to push upwards, but however I am also expecting a pullback, and on that pullback I will then decide if it is smart to ride price to the upside on the low side right here. So let me zoom in. Or if I want price to take out the high of today, if today is in fact the actual high, then I would ride it upwards, and that trade itself will start off as a scalp, okay? And if price continues to confirm that it is pushing upwards, I'll find a sensible place to bring in a trailing stop, and then I will hope to ride it all the way up until it decides that it actually wants to correct properly, at which point I'll be out. Hopefully it will not be trailing stop that takes me out, it will be a TP that takes me out, because we're yet to have a TP hit. So we're waiting for that to happen, and we'll see if we get that. So with all of that said and done, if you find the content that I've shared with you today useful, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. And with all of that said and done, I will see all of you amazing people on the next one.